Sorry, Taylor. I'm sure it's my fault, but I'm glad you made it. So there's that's new, I think, from when we don't need to go to Zoom. From when we last met. Let's see, is there anything else that's new? Oh, so then what I did in here is I updated up through day 5 with due dates that matched what Cindy sent out and are the things you'll turn in. What we're going to do today is have some fun with StatLab. Did everyone get into my math lab or my stat lab or whatever?
So Eric, I think it did tell them if they didn't, the Bibliu link should be working now.
I had to delete the old one and make this new one.
Yeah,
So,
and for some reason, it automatically showed up in my 033 class as well, where I never even had a link. I now have it.
I didn't do that, I don't think. I don't know.
I don't think so. It's great though.
Yeah. Okay, good. So everyone's in.
Get it together.
Well, yeah. I should apologize. I kind of feel like I need to tell everyone what's going on in my life because it's crazy. I moved over the weekend. I moved myself. I got a truck that was too small. I didn't realize it because I just, my brain is other places. And I did 3 trips and my knees are bruised because there was no ramp because the truck was too small and lots of steps. So it was lots of fun. I am hopefully for the rest of the semester, I'm going to be 100% present here. I just disappeared. I fell off the map from Thursday till Monday. So I'm back. If my emails were late, I'm sorry. I got caught up on emails yesterday. I think it was like 50. I don't think I'll ever do that again. Here we go. So I'm hopefully by next week, I will have Canvas completely ready to go, and I'll have a stable life at home. So let's all go to the chapter 2 project under day 3.
Eric, can I just ask one question real quick?
Yeah.
I talked to them about their assignments yesterday, and I think what you and I had discussed, and I just want to clarify it, the chapter 2 review worksheet, is that something that they are going to be doing themselves?
What do we want?
That's totally up to you.
Okay.
I said maybe they try it themselves, but if they have questions that they can ask us.
I like that. One of the things that can be troublesome with this class is we go all this time and then it's the midterm, and that's like the first graded thing where it's just you. And if we do all of the worksheets together, students that wait to do the worksheet until they see the answers will get destroyed on the midterm because you won't have had the chance to do it yourself. So I like the idea of like, okay, this review is all you. If you're afraid,
but they can ask questions.
Oh yeah, yeah. The same thing with the sample midterm, which is also part of your midterm grade. But I want to make sure that there's a point where you're standing on your own feet without any help. And then if you get stuck, get help, because it's just when the midterm comes, it's just you. That's what
Okay.
happened.
So Laura, go up in the right-hand corner and say exit full screen. And that will allow you to, it will open up your browser, like whether you have Google or whatever. So go up in the right-hand corner and just say exit full screen.
That helps. Is everyone able to do that? This is going to get a little wonky because my screen is going to be sharing. You can also just hit escape, I think, if you're in Zoom. Maybe not, because you're going to want to be following what's on my screen and then doing it yourself. So just shout at me if I'm starting to go too fast, and I'll pause and redo things and whatever. So I guess the first thing we need to do is you need to click this link to open the chapter 2 project, which is this Google Doc. And this is the chapter 2, project 1. And then we want to get into StatCrunch. There's 2 ways to get there. You can just click this link and then put in your Pearson account number, or you can log into StatLab and click the StatCrunch button here. And let me pause there because maybe I am flying too fast. And then you're going to do the StatCrunch website. So StatCrunch and my StatLab are kind of 2 separate things. They're like in 2 separate places, but you have the same login for both. So if you log into my StatLab, when you open StatCrunch, you'll automatically be logged in. You'd see your login stuff in the top right corner here. If you don't see that, you'll see a sign in thing, and you just click there and sign in. And then the actual StatCrunch software thing is this big, what was that, yellow open StatCrunch thing. And this is what it looks like. It's kind of like a spreadsheet. One of the nice things about StatLab is anytime a data set is in a question, there'll be a little link you can click and it'll open this with the data in this StatCrunch thing. So part of the goal of these projects, these early ones, is to get you comfortable with StatCrunch. And then when you take the midterm and the final, you will have access to this. I want you to use this. This is your calculator, except for arithmetic. It's awful for arithmetic. So everyone good with the chapter 2 project 1? Everyone's got that open? If you don't, go to modules and day 3, I think it was. Yep, day 3, the chapter 2 project, which is due on the 11th, which is this coming Sunday. I asked my class yesterday how many people were alive on September 11, 2001. And most of the class wasn't alive. And I was like, oh, well, hello, does anyone know what that day was? It was a terrible day. I remember where I was. I was the yearbook editor at my high school. I was a senior. I was with my rep from the company and my faculty advisor talking about some submissions I had to get done because I was behind as usual. Anywho, crazy day. And then they put the screens up and I saw the second plane fly into the thing live. It was crazy. And then every once in a while, I think, you know, like right now in Ukraine, that's a daily occurrence in Ukraine. Okay, good. Enough of me talking. Laura, great question. So you've opened this chapter 2 project thing. You've clicked this link thing. You've got here. You can't mess with this. You have to do file and either make a copy, and that will copy a Google Sheets thing into a Google account. What might be easier for you all is to download a Microsoft Word document that you can then toss into your OneDrive. If you have a Google account, making a copy will dump it into your Google Drive. So here's my Word, whatever, you'll have to enable editing. And then we're ready to go. So give me a thumbs up or something when you all are ready to move on.
So Laura, were you saying you don't have StatCrunch open? Is that what you were saying?
Oh.
At the moment, I'm trying to figure out where I can still see you guys on the top of my screen and make it the proper size and then have StatCrunch. And I did save that, or excuse me, download that. And I have the Microsoft Word document open and I enabled editing and everything. Now I'm just trying to size everything to where I can.
So we're going to jump back. You don't need the Word document open the whole time. We're going to copy things from StatCrunch and dump it into the Word document.
Oh,
so
okay.
That hopefully that helps. What we're going to have to do is, the hard part is the share screen versus doing things on your screen, I think. Okay, so the document, the chapter 2 project says you're going to find a publicly available data set on StatCrunch, and we need at least 2 qualitative variables and 1 quantitative variable in that data set. So I guess that's the first test. Do you know what qualitative and quantitative variables are? And can you identify if your data set has those? Anyone want to? Well, let's first get to the data set and then we'll talk about that. So we want to go back to the main StatCrunch place before you've opened the worksheet. If you have the spreadsheet thing open, you can just click the big StatCrunch word on the top left, and it takes you back to the home page. And if you look at the left, was that a rectangle? It says data sets. That's where we want to go. Is my mouse, can you all see that little finger thing? Is that big enough? I could make it bigger. Maybe I'll make it a little bigger. So in that data set, if you're in there, find a data set that has 2 qualitative and 1 quantitative variables. We'll get this thing monstrous. There we go. There's no way you're going to miss that. I think that's one of the critiques I have of Alana's YouTube videos, is that her cursor is a little bit small, so it can be kind of hard to follow sometimes. All right, so we're here at data sets. You open that and find a data set. And let me tell Xfinity it's okay to come get me some internet. I'll be right. Okay, I'll be right back. Notice mine has 2 qualitative, if I count year as qualitative, and then a ton of quantitative. So there is no right or wrong data set. You just have to have at least 2 qualitative and 1 quantitative. And if you look down here at the bottom, there's 4,699 pages of data sets.
I think you can find one.
You can find one.
I'll talk to him, Eric.
Okay.
So you guys, it won't matter if you have more, as long as you have 2 qualitative and at least 1 quantitative. It doesn't, you don't have to have exactly 3. As long as you have 2 qualitative and at least 1 quantitative. So remember, qualitative is words, quantitative is numbers. So just pick through and see if you see something interesting.
Okay. And then the box is AT&T on
Do you know where this came?
Okay, everyone got a data set? So I don't care about your name in here. You're supposed to tell me what data set you chose. So I did Seattle rainfall. If you're wondering where that title is, it's right here. I'm selecting it and hitting Control C. No, I'm not. I'm selecting it, right clicking and copying. And then I should just be able to left click in here and paste it. Yay. And then I'm supposed to choose a qualitative variable. I'll start with year. This is going to be a ridiculous graph because it's not super useful. And I'm going to create a bar graph, a bar chart of this stuff. So here's how you create a bar chart in StatCrunch. Thankfully, it's labeled clearly, graph, bar plot, and we have a data set. So StatCrunch uses this a lot with data or with summary. Anytime you've got columns of stuff, that's data. So we're going to click with data, and then this box is weird. So on the left side, you have like darkened in stuff with all the words. You have to click them to select it, and then it shows up on the right side. So I've just selected the column month, but I actually wanted year. Now notice if I keep clicking them, it changes it. If I want to select multiple, for PC users, you have to hold Control and click. For Mac users, I think you have to use Command. I think that's the same thing as Control. So I want month. You can mess with these things. You don't really need to do anything. We're doing a frequency. I think that makes the most sense. And then just click Compute and you'll have a nice little bar graph. Should I do that again?
Yes, please.
Definitely. So we go to graph, that menu, and then to bar plot. And then because we have a data set, we're going to go with data. So I'll pause right there and make sure everyone's good. Then in this thing, the first two rectangles at the top are selecting the columns of data. So we're telling StatCrunch, which column do you want to graph of? So I did, my first one was months. I just clicked it. I'm going to do years this time. It's going to be just as boring as that first one. And then compute. That's all we need for this one. Select the column and click compute. Another really boring graph. If you look at this, it should make a lot of sense that each one of these years has a frequency of 12 because it's monthly rain in Seattle. And so for 2004, we had 12 months that have recorded data. So my two bar graphs are kind of garbage. It's not a very good qualitative. It's not really worth looking at, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. The goal was to make sure you know how to create a bar graph in StatCrunch. How's everyone doing? We good? Because the next thing is we need to copy this and put it into our Word document so you can submit it. So for PC users, you can just right click and copy image. I found for Mac users in class yesterday that they couldn't do that. They had to go to options and copy, and then they could right click the image because it wouldn't show up as a copy image for whatever reason. I don't know what browser, I forget what it was. Anyway, so you copy image, you go to your Word document, you find the place where you're supposed to fit it, right click again and paste, and there's your beautiful bar chart. And you can resize it and do whatever you want with it. Okay, let me wait until you all have that done. If anyone's stuck or needs to see it again, let me know.
Got a question.
Yes, go ahead, Nikki.
Okay, so I don't know what I clicked on. Never mind. Answered question.
I love it.
Yeah, I clicked on something and half of it went pink and I figured it out. Okay, never mind.
Got it. Yeah, we understand that this is the first time that you guys are doing this. So once you do it a couple times, making these graphs and copying them into this Word document or Google form, you got it.
Shall we do the next one, or do you need me to do it again on this one? Because the next one is we're going to pick a second qualitative variable, and now we're going to make a pie chart. And I'm going to pick a different data set because mine is really, really boring. No. Oh, average wedding costs. That sounds really interesting. No qualitative data values. If you're all thinking about getting married, my suggestion is elope because it'll save a ton of money. The least important day of your marriage is the wedding day. Just a heads up. At least that's my opinion. Oh, this has got to have some. Here we go. So this has got a ton of data. We're looking at, there we go. So responses to future optimism survey. And I'm going to create a bar chart of the expectation for the future. Okay, so how do we create a bar chart or bar graph or pie chart? Same spot, graph, pie chart with data. Same thing as before. You're going to get used to this. Every time you do something in StatCrunch, you're going to be selecting what data thing from here. Now I was going to do the expectations for the future. There's other things we can do in here. Like right now we're doing count and percent of total. You don't have to worry about any of that. Just click compute and oh, look at that wonderful pie chart. Now I have no idea what this, I should have read what this is. I could put a title in there. It doesn't matter. We got the pie chart. That's the goal. Anyone need to see that again? Same thing as before. Right click it. By the way, if you do what I just did and you see all this pink showing up in the in this, what do you call this thing? The chart area or the spreadsheet area. What's happened is when you select the different parts, it's showing where the data came from. If you want to get rid of the pinkness, click clear. So if I click better, it's selected all the rows that had a better in it. And I think yeah, and the only way to get rid of it, I believe, is to click clear. Doesn't actually matter. So I'm copying the image. Again, I right-clicked on this, or you can do options and copy, and it creates the correct file. You right-click on that and copy image. Then you go to your place where you're going to put it. Right-click again and click paste. You can also do Control V or for PCs or Command V for Macs. And there it is. Everyone good? Anyone lost? Anyone have a question?
So for question 5 and 6, is that asking the same thing?
Yes. So 5, you're supposed to type the name of the variable.
Oh, okay.
And then 6 is like, okay, now put the pie chart in. It is kind of the same thing. So for me, it was the expectations for the future. And most people think the future is going to be better in this survey. Some about the same and some worse. And what was this? What year was this done?
My percentages are not coming over when I do the copy and paste. The pie chart came, but the percentages with it did not. And I did copy image.
Do you want to share your screen?
Laura, did you pick a, back in the part 1, did you pick what you wanted to, like in that where Eric picked expect future? Did you pick one of your qualitative variables?
Oh, no.
That's why.
Okay. Let me fix that. Expect future. Okay, go back.
You
Yeah,
can pick whatever you want. You wouldn't have had to do that as long as it was something that was qualitative.
So look at what I did. I picked a quantitative, oops, let me try again. Oh, look at that mess. That's kind of cool. So pie chart with data. I click a quantitative thing. Oh, it gave me a warning that's like, hey, do you want to bend these? Because there's a lot of numbers. What StatCrunch is trying to do is it's trying to count how many people are aged 31 in this survey. So when I click compute, it's like, whoa, look at all these unique numeric values. That means in a pie chart, we're going to have like 1,000 slices. And each slice will be one age. So it's like, hey, why don't we group this and say, oh, ages 10 to 30, and then 31 to 50 or whatever. I didn't do that. No, did I do that? There. So there it binned it. And for anyone age 0 to 20, it counted that in that pie chart or in that slice of the pie right here. So that's partly why you don't really want quantitative data in here unless you group it. Okay, am I sharing? Yeah, I am sharing my screen. Are we ready to go to the next one, or do we have any more questions on 1 through 6? Please be very comfortable being stuck. Anytime you learn new technology, it's really crazy and it's easy to get stuck. So number 7, we're picking a quantitative variable now. Remember, that's numerical that we can do calculations with. And we're going to create a histogram. So remember this bar chart or bar graph. Technically, the order on mine didn't matter for years, although the year, it does make sense to put them in order from smallest to largest. If you picked a qualitative variable that wasn't numerical at all, the order of the bars didn't matter. Now they're going to matter, and that's what's super important about a histogram, is it's of quantitative data, and it is most likely going to bin the data for you. So let's try it out. I am going to pick a different data set. I don't like this one for quantitative. And let's do NFL player data from 2016. So Laura, you can share your screen. Let me stop sharing my screen. Did I stop? No. How do I stop? Stop. Nope. I want to keep recording. There we go. So I stopped sharing. Are you comfortable sharing your screen? You're muted, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that though.
Okay, that's totally fine. If you look down at the bottom where the chat thing is, do you see that? There should be a thing that says share screen.
Okay.
Green arrow.
And hey, you got it. Nice.
So when I copied my data, that's what I got. But am I able to click back over and it'll share that too?
Yeah, let's see. Click Stacks. Open your StatCrunch screen and let's see if it shows it.
Working it out here, guys. No. There it
Thank
is.
you for being willing to share, by the way.
See, it's there.
Okay, so stop share and share again so we can see your StatCrunch. I think so. When you do the share thing, if you pick the top left option, it shares everything on your computer. When you select one of the screens, it just shares that Word document.
Okay.
So you do the stop share, there's like a red button somewhere.
Oh, there we
There
go.
we go. Nice. And then do it again. Funny story, I was helping a student and they shared their screen. And I always warn people like, hey, when you share your entire desktop, we can see everything that's there. You know, any tabs you have open, anything on your computer. And this poor student was trying to get help with homework and they had like the cheat website open. I was like, well, I'm glad you're here. It's okay.
All right. So how do I get that percentage area to transfer then? Because when I right
Well,
click,
let me see your screen again. So do the share screen and then make it so we can see the StatCrunch one. Either select that window or select the whole
Okay.
desktop, whichever one.
share screen, crime, math.
You're not the only one having this problem, I don't think. I think I saw someone else. Yeah. Emily, you're
Okay,
Taylor's
that,
having it. Okay.
did I get it?
Okay, I see it. Okay. Try this. Try clicking the clear button on the bottom left first. Because I think what we're missing is that total firearms thing, right? The key to the pie chart. So click
Right.
the options button in the top left corner of the graph, right there, and click copy. Good. Now right click that and copy it, and let's see if that makes any difference.
Copy image.
You need a
Go
mouse, by the way,
word.
Laura. Life with a mouse is so much better than a trackpad.
Have a mouse.
Okay, good. Anyone else trying to do this with a trackpad?
Paste.
Don't
There
do
it
it. Your
is.
mouse. Okay, awesome.
Got it.
So probably what was happening is you were clicking on the circle graph as opposed to like the white area.
Yep, that's exactly.
Good. Kayla, did that work for you, or did you try that? I think, and Emily.
I gotta try it because I
Okay.
tried to do that before and it didn't. So maybe I'm clicking on the graph too instead.
Yeah,
of-
I think so. If you right click, you have to be outside of the graph, like on the white. Or you guys just go up in the right hand corner and hit options and copy, then you don't have to worry about it.
Cool, good. Emily, you said it. Did you try it, Emily? And work, or are you good on both? Okay. Are we ready to try the histogram, or should I just slow my roll here?
Go for it.
Okay, we're gonna go for it. So I got the NFL player data. I'm interested in the height of an NFL player, the distribution of heights. And that worked, Taylor? I just clicked 2 fingers over it. Oh, you're using the trackpad with that. I don't know how y'all do it. Trackpads are too difficult for me. So we're gonna go to graph, and look at that. It says histogram. How wonderful. You're going to see the same type of dialog box as with the bar chart and the rest. Here's the columns. Which one do you want to use? And then a bunch of other stuff. I wanted to see the height of these NFL players. And you can look, there's all kinds of different things. Like we can put the mean and median in there. Maybe I'll mark those just for fun. You don't need to. Really, for right now, we just want to make sure you can get the graph. So compute, ooh, come over here, and there it is.
So make sure that you're using quantitative data for histograms.
Yeah, let me try doing it with a qualitative data set. Oh, it won't let me, right?
Oh, not even giving you the option.
Other than years. Notice StatCrunch is saying that years is qualitative. Interesting, it's got Jersey. Jersey here is not qualitative, it's quantitative. Jersey is not quantitative, it's qualitative. Oh, years here, that makes sense because these are like the number of years a player has been in the league. And that makes a lot of sense because there's not too many old players, right? It's just the quarterbacks because they protect them like everything. These are all like the running backs and or the linemen and the defensive people. That's kind of cool. Same thing. Let's see if I can recreate the problem you all had. I'm going to click on the graph and copy image. See if that gives me a problem. Didn't for this.
But you didn't have any outside percentages or anything to copy over.
Good point. Yep. It just had the frequency and then the label of the variable. So it looks like NFL players are on the taller end of things. We should get the same graph for NBA players. Congratulations, you've completed the first project.
How did you get the green line?
Oh,
What is
great
that
question.
from?
You don't need it, but I'll show you where that came from. When I created this, I scrolled down and I put markers in, the mean and the median. So I just click those, and you can even, oh, look at that. You can change the colors quite a lot. You don't need to. This is really what your graph should look like. I don't think we've covered mean yet, unless you all talked about 3-1 already. You have. Okay, so you know what the mean is. Good. Did you notice that we couldn't see the difference between the mean and the median? What does that suggest about this data set? Like there's the median.
So what happens if they're about the same, guys? What shape is that?
I'll give you a hint. You have 3 options. Skewed right.
Is that
Go
gonna
ahead,
be
Nikki.
balanced?
Yes, there's a
Balance,
different
what's
word.
another word? Yeah, that's balanced. Oh, what's another
That's-
word for that?
Symmetric.
There you go. Nikki, I agree with you, Nikki, the idea of the balanced like thing, because the mean is the balance point of the data. And when it's symmetric, then it's nice and perfectly balanced. When we talk about the shape of the graph, we're looking for one of those 3 words there. A uniform could be there, but that's rare. Oh, Emily, it's totally okay. I think the fix we got for the pie chart is to do the, let me create one real fast. Let's do position. Okay. So the fix, this isn't showing up. I think if you select here and copy image, it's definitely not going to show up. Yeah. So what happened is when I right-clicked on the pie graph, and all it did was copy the pie graph. So there's 2 fixes. Fix number 1 is to click in a white space and copy image. Then it's copying everything. Let's make sure that is actually true. That's my guess. Nope, wrong. So only 1 fix. You got to go to options and click the copy button for options. What it's going to do, I think what's happening with the software is it's like smashing that all into like 1 file and making it some sort of image file, like maybe a JPEG or something like that. So click copy and it pops open a new thing, and then it just says right click. And I don't think it matters where you right click. And copy. And then paste, and then you've got everything. Did that help? And then I got to show you one more thing to do to turn stuff in. And someone asked about this for turning things in probably like 5 months before it was actually due. And then I never responded until yesterday. So if that was you, you can still turn in your assignment, even if it wasn't you. Yay, we got it. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Canvas real quick and just highlight one of the things that's true for every single file. It's this: we have to save things as PDFs. So let me go to student view real quick. Let's see what happens. Oh, of course, there's a page error. So from your Canvas account, when you are here for submissions, it should say somewhere that only PDFs are allowed. Maybe I changed it so you can do more than one. I did try to change this first couple of sets that you can submit multiple times.
It does say PDF right there. Fill out the document, then save as a PDF and upload.
So if you don't know how to do that, in Word, you do File, Save As, and then here's where the name, so we name this whatever you want. There's my name. Underneath that, it says Word document. If you click this, you'll see a PDF option. Now, the tricky part for folks is if you just click save, you might not know where it's going on your computer. This is where the file or the place it's being saved as. So for me, when I click save, this is going to go in my downloads folder. Let me not do this ridiculous name. Chapter 2, Project 1. If you want to find a different place to save it, you click this browse button, and then it opens up this dialog box. If you're a person that just dumps stuff on your desktop, there's that. Documents here, maybe you want to put it on your OneDrive if you have that opened on your computer. If you have a Google Drive, you could go there. You just need to know where you're saving it so that when you go to upload it, you can find it. So there's save. It's now saved somewhere in that spot I left it. And I'm going to go back here, and if you know where the file is, you can just drag it here. Now I know that my file is in my downloads folder. So I'm going to my downloads folder, and here's my file. One of the things you can do, at least in a Windows format, is you can click the date, sort by date modified. And since you just saved this, that should be the top file on there, and you can just grab it and drag it in, and there it's submitting it for you. On the other hand, you can click this upload button. Can you? Oh, upload Canvas files. What's that? Nah, okay. Apparently you can save files here. You can click this. Can you? Nope, I don't know.
I think
Oh,
it's
here we go.
because it,
So yeah, so if you don't want to drag, you just click this dialog box, and maybe everyone knows this already, and I'm sorry if you already do, but you click that and it opens up your stuff here. And for my Windows thing, there's a quick access thing, and then recent files. That's not helpful. So you just have to find where you saved it. Is that good? How's everyone doing? No, talk to me, Laura. What part's crazy?
Technology in general is crazy. So I saved the document in my Microsoft Word and my PC as a PDF document. So I close it out, and then I'm going over to our project. And so then I click drag a file here or choose a file to upload, right?
Do you know where the file is saved on your computer?
It just says this PC. That's the thing. I don't know.
Well, so if you go back, does it look kind of like this when you're saving it?
Yes.
So look right here. This is the folder that you're saving it in.
Oh.
And I think you can click it and it opens the folder, which isn't particularly helpful because in this case, but that's, so you need to, I think one simple way to then get it to Canvas is to just go to your file thing and open that folder, whatever folder you saved it in, find the file,
okay.
and then drag it over.
I was getting confused because I thought that when I was uploading stuff to other classes, on the bottom right where you have your open and cancel, and right above that, it already said PDF.
Got you.
So I didn't realize it was already saying that. Sorry, crisis.
No, you're
averted,
good. You're
everybody.
good. Anyone else stuck? I guess I could look to see how if everyone was able to submit it.
It won't open.
Nice. What won't open?
When I go in there, I choose the assignment. I have my file name down, the PDF file. It's not pulling it over there.
Okay, try this then. Go back to Canvas where this drag thing is, click it,
Okay.
and that should open up this dialog box that looks like this. And go on your thing over here and find the folder.
What did you click on? The
I click
canvas?
the box that says drag a file here or choose a file to upload. Oh, there's where it says file permitted PDF. If you try to put a Word document, it won't let you do it. So if you click that, see how this box is popping up for me slowly but surely.
Mhm.
And then this is on the left side of that box is where all the folders are. And mine was under downloads. There's my file, and I'm going to click open.
It's not doing it still. I saved it as a PDF, but it's not. I hate technology.
We got this. You're good. You're good. So we're not trying to open any files right now. We're just trying to find where the file is to get it to Canvas, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So is this, when you click that drag it, that rocket thing, does a dialog box not open up?
The dialog box opens up
Perfect.
and I found the assignment under my under downloads,
Good.
and I clicked on it.
Did you
But
click
mine's
open?
not showing like yours does. Mine doesn't show like PDF.
Okay,
Mine
let's do this.
shows as the Google symbol.
Oh, then maybe you didn't save it as a PDF. Do you want to share your screen so I can see it real fast?
Sure. So this. Right?
Nice. Okay. Yep, it's a Chrome file.
But I
So-
did save it in Microsoft Word as a PDF.
So you must have saved it in a different spot. Click the quick access way at the top and then scroll down. Yeah, there, scroll that down a little. Let's see if it shows most recent. Yeah, there it is. PC downloads. So can you go back, cancel that and go back to your, the file where you saved it. And let's see if maybe you just thought you did PDF and it didn't do it.
So
Oh, I can't see it. Which just means you'll have to
Oh.
stop share. Oh,
all right.
and then start it again. And click the top left option. It should say like desktop underneath. Let me see. Or screen. It should just say screen in the top left when you do the share things. Then I can see you moving between windows.
That
Okay, so let's do the save thing. So file,
save as.
nice, good. There we
And then I
go.
went down to PDF.
Nice, good.
Did you hit save?
And then
Yes. And then I clicked save over here
nice, okay.
and says
Hmm.
I already have that.
Okay, just replace it. I might know what's going on. I might. Don't do any of that. You might have clicked a Google Chrome to open actually, you could do Microsoft Edge because that opens PDFs in a nice format. Okay, now let's go back to Canvas. I think we fixed it. By the way, for everyone, if you want to do stuff digitally, Microsoft Edge is a really nice place to be able to write on the screen
Okay.
and save it. So yeah, click that. And do your download thing.
That's where it is.
Man, so just click on it and let's see if it'll let it in. That way at the top one. You might have Chrome set to open this stuff. Oh, there it's going. Nice.
And nothing happened.
Yeah, it's up.
Scroll up a little.
uploading.
Scroll up a little higher on your camera. There it is. Oh yeah, you've
Oh,
uploaded.
so it is going up there.
Give them all to me.
Look,
That's awesome. I
everybody,
mean,
I'm learning. I have no idea how to work any of this.
this is
Okay.
perfect. No, Laura, thank you for doing that. I guarantee
I
there's
did.
like 5 people that needed to see that.
Hey, all right. I'll be the guinea pig, no problem.
Yes, thank you. Click submit and you're done. Okay, I'm going to take over the share now. Okay, so we're going to do this again. Get ready. But I have to figure out how to get out of student mode. So you're going to, well, I guess it doesn't matter. So now go to the chapter.
Go down
2
to the very bottom, Eric, where it says leave student view in the pink at the bottom.
There it is. All my Zoom things were covering it. Perfect. Okay, so scroll down to day 3 again, and let's open chapter 2, project 2. Hello, friend. There it is. Same drill as before. So practice makes permanent. Let's see if you can do it. Can you get the Google Doc, open it as a thing you can edit, and then notice what you're being asked to do is pick a data set that has quantitative variables, not qualitative this time, just quantitative. So in case you're forgetting, file, you can either make a copy to your Google Drive or you can download. I don't think you want to download a PDF because they're kind of hard to edit. You have to have special software. So we're picking a data set, we're picking a quantitative variable, and then we're going to use a histogram with sliders applet to mess with the histogram. I'll stick with my NFL player data. And the applets, the histogram applets thing is under applets and histogram with sliders. That's what you're going to. Now remember, this has to be a quantitative variable, which one of the nice things is when this opens up, the only columns that are available to select are columns that have just numbers in them. Now, in my data set, jersey is not a quantitative variable because someone's jersey number is simply their name when they're playing the game on the field. Like if they commit a foul, the ref says number 53, because the refs probably don't know all the players' names. I'm going to go with weight for mine. Again, you pick whatever data set you want, as long as it's got a quantitative variable in there. And I'm going to do compute. And I now have a histogram, and there's sliders here with a starting point and a bend width. So how are we doing? Is everyone able to get that far? I'll show the applet where I got it again. Okay, so from there, we're repeating the same stuff as before. We're going to, well, we're going to start with exploring the effects of the starting point. So I don't like fill in the blank things. So let's work on this one together. It says the starting point on the histogram applet is called the blank for the frequency distribution table. Do y'all remember what a frequency distribution table looks like? Let's see if I can pull one up. Oh, there's one on the sample midterm exam. This is old, so don't worry about the numbers here. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Here's a frequency distribution table for a continuous data set, because the variable is the age of a person. And so what we're trying to do here is connect the idea of this thing here that says starting point with how it connects to a frequency distribution. Any ideas what this starting point, like in my graph, it says 150. By the way, if you're wanting to connect that to the actual histogram, that's the number right here, 150. So any ideas what we call, where that would show up here? Let's try sliding it to see what happens. I'm going to make the starting point 55. This number right here, oh, it's not 55. Oh, yeah, because it doesn't really, it has no effect on this graph. So let me help you. If this were to be graphed, the starting point would have been 0. What is 0 called in that frequency distribution? What is this called? Anyone know? I think you're saying it. I'll start typing it. Starts with an L, and the next letter is O, and a W, and then an L, limit. It's the lower limit of the first class. Does that make sense, y'all? So in a frequency distribution, we create a bunch of classes, and each class has a lower limit and an upper limit. And remember, the connection between the lower limits is that's how we find the width of the classes. So the difference between consecutive lower limits. And then it's also how we find the midpoint. It's the mean of consecutive lower limits. So in this case, the starting point of our histogram, which, by the way, a histogram is simply a graph of this stuff, of the frequency distribution. So that starting point is the lower limit. It's the lower limit of the first class. How about a little later, it says mess with the bend width. This one I'm just going to tell you because the answer is there. The bend width is the width of the class. Notice how those bars are getting larger and larger and larger, or smaller and smaller. It's how far apart consecutive lower limits are. So for, let's see, for my graph, when I put 40, it means there's 40 units between this lower limit of 150 and this upper limit of 190. And then it goes from 190 up to what, 230? And then 230 up to 270, and so on and so forth. So the bin widths are the class widths. In fact, in StatCrunch, when we talk about a bin, that really means a class. Okay, I think those are the two things that most students have a really hard time with. So let's see, class width. That's what you're meant to say there. I'm gonna let you all do the rest of this kind of on your own time. I think you should be okay with it. Just a quick reminder, you're gonna create, let's see, we were supposed to create a histogram by messing with this. And then to copy it, you right click the graph, copy image, and paste. This time there isn't an option to like copy, like, oh no, there is, I'm sorry. If that's not comfortable, you can do option and copy and it opens a new thing. Okay, so you're gonna do that, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So you're gonna make 6 histograms. One of them is supposed to be terrible here in 5A. So you should think about which one has a like a shape that doesn't look quite right. Like maybe it's actually symmetric, but because you mess with the bend widths, it looks something else. Or maybe it's skewed right, but then when you mess with the bend widths, it look like this looks symmetric, exactly symmetric, right? But that might not actually be representative of the data set. Like this might actually be a better one. So that's what you're messing with, just kind of getting used to the histogram. I think I want to let you do that unless there's any questions. Because then I want to do some worksheet stuff.
So on the first one, we're just supposed to mess with the starting point, and then, okay, so don't change the width on the first one, and then on the second one, only change the width?
Correct.
Okay, got it, thanks.
Yeah, we're just trying to have you investigate what happens when you change the lower limit of the first class. And then what happens when you change the bend widths? How does that mess with the look of the histogram? And since you've already done 3-1 and you've seen that you've got those 3 special shapes, skewed right, symmetric, skewed left, and you've got the connection between the mean and the median, the best graph is going to accurately reflect the relationship between the mean and the median. So if they're approximately equal, then you should have a normal looking histogram. If they are not approximately equal, it should either be skewed left or skewed right based on which one's larger, the mean or the median. So we're going to continue with the StatCrunch stuff. I don't think I've downloaded all these worksheets yet, so bear with me while I grab them. I should probably close a few of these windows to help life speed up.
Do you know which worksheets that you're going to?
Yes, great question. It's the one that's due in 133, but we can also do the one that's due in 033. So it's 3.1, I believe it's number 3. Nope, it's number 2. Swing and a miss.
So I have 3.1 worksheet 1 and Eric has 3.1 worksheet 2.
We can do either one. Which one do you want to start with? Oh, you know what I should do? Oh, I've downloaded it. Surely I've downloaded it. Anyone have an opinion, or do you want me to just choose?
Do yours, Eric. Yours will be harder.
Okay, let's do the more difficult one. Great decision. I agree. So here it is. Maybe we should do a quick overview of 3.1, or have you already done that?
No, you can do an overview. We
Let's
barely got done with the notes.
Okay. So real fast overview of 3.1. First off, the words. The word we're going to probably use the most is center. This shows up in chapter 8 a bunch. But that word is the same word as average, which is the one that is probably most familiar to people. And most people think this word average means mean, which it can. But in our context, average is the umbrella of what's the center of the data set. Or in other words, what is the measure of central tendency? I should put an of in there, shouldn't I? Measure of central tendency. So those three words mean exactly the same thing, or those three phrases. And for our class, we only looked at 3 measurements for this. The mean, the median, and the mode. We've already mentioned this. There are 2 like flavors of each of these. One could have been calculated from a sample, and one could have been calculated from a population. The only way to know the difference is to look at the data set and say, oh, that's a sample data set, or oh, that's a population data set. However, if we've identified that, or I hand you either of these 2 symbols for mean, you would know which is which. So X bar is for statistic, and mu is for population. We do not have special population. Who said that? Try again. Parameter. Remember that connection? If the calculation was done from a sample, we call it a statistic. If the calculation is done from a population, we call it a parameter. The median, we don't have special symbols, and the mode, we don't have special symbols. So you just have to know. Often we just say the mode is this or the median is this. The ones that are most useful here are these 2. So if our data set is symmetric, we would report the mean. And if our data set is skewed in either direction, left or right, we would report the median as the best measure of central tendency, or the best measure of average, or the best measure of center, either one of those 3 words. By the way, the worksheet we're doing right now also has the word typical, same idea. You don't need to know the formulas of any of these, although it's sometimes nice to know that the mean is sum of all the data values divided by lowercase n, or sum of all the data values divided by uppercase n. So that's one little thing that got slipped in here. Sample size is kind of like a statistic or parameter, although it's not really used a whole lot. I mean, it's important, it's just not, I don't know, you just have to be able to count, let's say that. So we use a lowercase n to say, oh, here's the sample size of a, sample size, and we use a capital N for a population size. So we could call lowercase n a statistic, uppercase n a population. I don't know. It's kind of weird, right? Because you just count. Whoops, what did I do? Okay, that's that. That graph, and I always forget which goes which. So there's that page in there that where we have what, skewed left, symmetric, and skewed right.
Laura, is that page 78? I see you with all your stuff right there. I think it is. It's either 78 or 79. I think it's 78.
And we're going to add to this because we're going to add spread in 3.2.
Yep.
So there's really a later, actually, I think in 3.5 is a complete page of all of it, and you want that page.
So they asked yesterday, will Eric let us just use that page on the midterm rather than copying all of that on their note sheet?
I mean, you won't need it, but sure. You're going to have it. You'll have this memorized by then. One of the things I don't like how it's written in there, Cindy, I think you probably do this too. I prefer to have like one measurement all on one side, so either
So put the
the-
mean on the left,
Is that what you did? Okay,
because then when you put the direction, like if it's skewed left, it'll be mean is less than, so it'll be pointing to the left.
love it. Love it. I
There
need
you
to do that for my in-person class. Yes, I
Yeah, so
like
I
that.
told them always put the mean on the left.
So this one is, let's see, skewed left, skewed right, and symmetric. You're gonna do this 1,000 times, figuring this out. So like I said, you'll have memorized. But if you want that nice security blanket, bring it to the exam. That's fine by me.
You guys, he means skewed right, not skewed symmetric.
What?
Love it.
Thank you. Okay, so let's jump then. Well, are there any questions on all this, or should I calm down for a second and let you write this?
Laura's like, I got it.
Nice, nice.
It's
the
all right
secret.
here. It's right here for me.
In 3.5, there's another page. It's like 10 something. That
Yeah. 102.
it's also
I
gonna,
think.
yeah, it's gonna include the box plots, and the spread, and then the describe the data set thing. What we're moving to is a description of the data set where you're gonna state the center. No, that's not the order. We do shape first, right? Where you're gonna look at it, be handed a bunch of numbers, a data set, and you're going to tell me what the shape is, what the center of that data set is, and what is the spread of that data set. We already know what shape could be. It's any one of these three: skewed left, symmetric, skewed right. You've learned center. It's either the mean or the median. And then the spread you're going to learn is either the standard deviation or the IQR. So this won't be completed until we've gotten through section 3.5. So that's what's coming. And then that shows up again later in chapter 8. And it's a very prescribed thing. We're looking for the shape to be normal, which is a little different than symmetric, but not really. Okay, so let's jump back to this 3.1 worksheet, 3.1 worksheet number 2. And I think mode, when it's qualitative, which by the way, for qualitative data, the only measure of quotes center is mode, because that's the only thing you can more or less calculate. It's the most repeated data value. If you have data values repeated more than once in the same amount of time, you can have multiple modes, which is partly what makes mode not super useful as talking about like the average data value. But it's the only one. So genre, what do y'all think here for this data? Oh, by the way, our data set here are the top grossing movies in the US from 2000 to 2020, right? Which is that's the data set, or the, yeah. And we have these different variables we collected from this data set. Notice we don't have a question that we're asking, like, what's the best movie, or what's the average sale of ticket sales, or anything. Like, we don't have a question, but these are the variables collected from these data values, or from this thing. Fiction is the most common genre. How did you know? So here's genre. Is it, oh, so did you count kids fiction and science fiction as the same thing, Taylor or Laura? Yeah, they're separate. And I would agree with you if we put the two together, but boy, if you did Pan's Labyrinth for kids, shame on you. That's a there's some awful stuff in that movie that kids shouldn't see. I think it's superhero is the most common. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, superhero. There's 8 out of the what, 21. How about distributor? I think you can see it just by looking at it. Evil Corp. I mean, Walt Disney. Some people really hate Walt Disney, especially because they bought Star Wars and destroyed it, right? Or made it better. I don't know. We last in spring semester, we talked about Marvel versus what's the other one? DC, and like it was almost like talking Republican versus Democrat. We had to stop talking that in class. Rating, is that one pretty obvious too? PG-13. There's a reason for that, right? So you can get kids in there. It's fascinating, this rating stuff, like what goes into that. It's a very interesting, there's a whole academy that determines it. Okay, so now we get to the StatCrunch part. We're just looking at tickets sold. So what we need to do is type in these numbers as a column in StatCrunch. So data entry, yeah, not fun. It's really what robots are for, but sorry. In this case, we just have to do it. So get back to your StatCrunch spot and open a blank sheet. So remember, for the chapter 2 projects, we were opening a data set. It would be wonderful if this data set was buried in there, but yesterday's class kind of looked for it and they couldn't find it. It's probably going to be faster to just type it. One of the things maybe you don't know about this, if you take your screen and like move it against the side, it will allow you to do this. So I've like split the windows and it kind of like, I don't know, that's nice. And then you can just type. Unfortunately, we can't copy and paste from this PDF. So you just gotta get it in there. So good luck. If you have a number pad, it usually can go a little faster. We can erase. That's not fair because I started before you all started.
How do
Oh,
we
yeah.
get the blank?
What's that? Oh,
Again?
yes. Oh, thank you so much. You too. I'm sorry, say that again.
How did you get to that again on StatCrunch?
Oh, great question. So when you're here, like in the main page, you're just clicking this open StatCrunch thing. And it opens a blank worksheet. Ooh, I got my, oh, do I? Dare I connect to internet? Ooh, I might disappear. Okay, we're good. Oh, that's so awesome. Okay. Taylor, was that good? Did you
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
do that on purpose so you could beat me?
No.
I'm not competitive at all. Oh, and see, great haste makes great waste. Okay. Let me pause. I'll drink some water while you all take a second to type. I have a number pad, which is what lets me probably type a little faster than that like other thing.
And you can also click on that variable 1 and change that to tickets sold.
I
That's
thought
what
you
I did.
hated technology. Look at you. You gotta feel good about that.
Not really, but I'm trying. I had my
Yeah, come on.
8-year-old showing me how to navigate stuff yesterday.
I mean, yeah. You can also, if you want to, go in between so your thing turns like this and make that wider, but yeah. A word of caution, maybe we've talked about it here. This is not like Excel. So you can't, really all you can do is put the numbers in there. You can like copy and paste so you can select these and do Control C and Control V. That's possible. So if your stuff is in Word, you can copy a data set from Word into here. What's super nice, maybe I already said it, is that when you're doing homework, any MyStatLab homework that has a data set, it will open in StatCrunch. Sorry, got water down the wrong pipe. Let me just see if I can show that. Okay, this one, there's only like 5 numbers, but this little box here, you click it and you can open in StatCrunch, and there's your data set waiting to be played with. There's nothing more frustrating than typing the number wrong and not realizing it and trying to get it in StatCrunch, and you're like, I did exactly what I was supposed to, and you typed one thing wrong, right? So this should guarantee that the data set is correctly typed. When you take your midterm, I'm going to type in all of the data sets on the midterm in StatCrunch, and you'll be able to find them and not have to type anything. So you'll find them under somewhere in here. I'll make sure to show you how to do that. Okay, so what we're about to do, you will do 2 million times in this class. You're just going to go here all the time. And that is, we want to calculate, for this problem, we want to calculate the mean and the median. So mean and median. And the way you do that in StatCrunch is you go to Stat and Summary Stats, and we're going to do it by columns because we entered one variable as a column as opposed to one variable as a row. We could enter it as a row, but that, I don't know, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So Stat, Summary Stats, columns. Now notice you get the same sort of dialog box that you got with the histograms and the bar charts and the whatever. There's a list of all the columns here. Now we've only labeled one and put data in one column, so we just select that one. But it's very likely that, like, when I give you a data set, you'll have multiple columns and you have to pick the one you want to work with. Don't worry about these options. Down here, you've got statistics. Now we have to be careful because some of these statistics we're selecting could actually be parameters if the data we entered came from a population, if it was all of the individuals in our study. In this case, we know it's a statistic because this is a sample of top grossing movies for those sets of years, presumably. Presumably, we care about more than just 2001 to 2021. Now, the default is, notice these things have all been selected in mean, variance, standard deviation, standard error, median, range, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to click mean and look, they all disappear. And now there's only mean there. But I want mean and median at the same time because I don't want to have to do this twice, although it doesn't matter, you can. So I'm going to scroll in this left side until I see median. And this is the part that'll get you all. You have to hold Control and click for there to be 2. If you do it like this, if you click mean and like, oh, I want median, and then you click median, and you're like, but I want mean too, and then you go back and click mean, and you're like, but I want median, and then you're like cursing and throwing your computer against the wall. No, it's because you gotta hold Control. So just, you know, get ready. Another little trick is you can use Shift. So if I want everything in this list, I selected the top one, I scrolled all the way to the bottom, and I'm holding Shift and clicking, and it selects everything in between.
You can also do a Control A.
Oh,
That will pick everything as well. I don't know how we figure out all these little tricks.
trial and error.
It wasn't me. It was definitely a student who told me.
Yeah, same here, I'm sure. Okay, I'm gonna leave in here just for fun, so that we know what that is, and just do these 3. And then you see the compute button, click compute, and you should see a little dialog box here that opens up, and I'll zoom in a little. Notice it labels them summary statistics. It will tell you the column name that you selected. So that was tickets sold. Here's my in, meaning there are 22 data values in my data set. Notice that in will match the number of the very last row, which is right here. So the rows are also the number of values, which is also in. Here's my mean, and here's my median. Now, did we all get the same mean? I might be wrong. That looks wrong. Oh, Laura, if you got it, then it's got to be right. Because there's
got
no
that.
way you got that too. Okay, there's no way that we entered the incorrect numbers exactly the same. That's highly improbable. So I think we're good. Anyone need to see that again or stuck on any part of this? For chapter 3 and 4, nope, for chapter 3, you're going to be here. This is the only thing you need. Stats, summary stats, and columns. This is for center, spread, and that's it. Those two things. Okay, so if we go back to our worksheet, we now know the answer to the mean. That was 64 point, come back here, friend. 60.41. I knew I was going to do that. $60.41, and we have to be careful. This is million, 60.41 million. We could have added in all these numbers, 60,409,091 if we wanted to. That's that many tickets sold. And then the median number is 57 million. And the units on both of these are tickets. How we doing? Yay. Okay. How about I get out of the way and you all talk through the rest of the worksheet? Since we only have what 28 minutes left, maybe we'll skip the whole put you into groups thing for this time and just let you figure it out. Does that seem okay? All right, I'm gonna go do some push-ups while you all do that. Anyone stuck? Yay, a question. Okay, no worries. So question 2, I actually really like because it puts together this. So it's asking you to connect shape with mean and median and the relationship between those two numbers in a data set. So when you look at this one, the first thing you want to do is say, okay, histogram A, what shape would we say that is when you look at that histogram? Symmetric. Go ahead, Laura.
That one's skewed right.
Good.
And the other one is symmetric.
Okay, I would agree with that, roughly, right? Now,
Right.
before we go any further, let's connect with, okay, if it's skewed right, we know the mean is less than the median. So let's write that down.
Other way around.
Is that exactly what I read and said? Make sure I read it.
So-
Skewed right, the mean is greater than the median is exactly what I meant. Thank you, Cindy. And then if it's symmetric, they're about the same. Okay, now the second thing that you learned is, I forget who said it, is that balance point thing. So, well, so let's go back to this one. Which of these options is the mean greater than the median? Number 3, actually 3.5 is smaller than 4.3. No worries, been there, done that. So we're looking at which number on the left side is larger than the number on the right side. Good for, I need 2 monitors. Is there another one? How about 2? Okay, good. So which of the 2 is correct? Well, that's where you look at the mean and say, all right, which of these 2 numbers looks like the balance point of the data set? So 6.1 as a mean would be right here. Does that seem to be balanced? Yeah, I agree. It doesn't look very balanced. So then let's look at the other one. 4.5 is right here. Does that appear to balance the data? And you want to think about, there's tons of data values over here, and there's not too many over here. So like this one, the left side is way too heavy. So it's going to tip like this off of that one. And over here, it's probably going to balance, even though it looks like there's a lot over here, right? There's more bars going out there, but the frequency is much lower. So yes, this is the correct mean, which makes number 2 the correct answer. How are we feeling on that, everyone? Anyone that got a question on that? I love that that connects those 3 things, right? It connects the picture, it connects the relationship between the mean and the median, and then it connects the idea of what the mean is in the data set. By the way, which of, number 2 is the correct answer. Which is the best measurement of center, the 4.5 or the 4.1? So of these 2, in other words, is it the mean or the median that's the best measure for this graph?
Is it the 4.5?
Why would you say the 4.5?
Just because of how it looks.
Okay, like the balance idea, right?
Right.
Gotcha. So anytime your data set is skewed, the best measure of center is the median. So if you identify it skewed, it's the median. It has nothing to do with like where it is. In fact, if you think about where the median is, it's like, okay, my arrows are bad. So 4 point, what? Come on. 4.5 is in the middle of this bar. Is that, oh boy, okay, that's not great. And then 4.1 is going to be over here, a little bit to the left. So the median is more accurate in terms of the typical value or the center value or the average value. And that's because it's skewed, and that's the only reason. So when you're picking what's the best measure of center, that question is really asking, is the data set symmetric or is it skewed? If it's symmetric, you would say the mean. If it's skewed, either left or right, doesn't matter which direction, you would say the median. And that's really what this page is getting at in the next questions. But okay, so here we said they have to be about the same. Would you agree that I and IV are about the same? In fact, they're the same units apart, 0.1. Which of those 2 is the correct measure? 6.2 or 8.0 in terms of the mean? Should I draw them for you? Here's 6.2. Here's 8.0.
I agree, Emily and Nikki.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat. Good, good. They're both I and IV are approximately equal. So both 1 and 4 are about the same number, but 4 is not at all an appropriate mean for that data set. It's not a balance point. There's too much stuff on the right side. Good. What's the best measure of center for this graph?
Good.
How do you know that it's the mean or the 8.0?
Because it's symmetric.
That's it. That's it. Which is exactly what question 3 is. So what'd you all say? We got the mean age of a woman who died in Australia is 80.6 and the median was 85. Would we expect that histogram to look skewed right, skewed left, or approximately symmetric? Explain this. When I grade these kinds of papers, I usually have to mark -1 because people don't like explaining. So let me write these things down to help you. What's the relationship between the mean and the median? Oh, you all are typing things in the chat. Skewed left, skewed left. Why are you all saying skewed left?
Because the mean is less than the median.
Nailed it. Let's go back to here real quick. If the mean is less than the median, we know it's skewed left. Excellent. Notice that's the explanation. In fact, for me, this sentence that I wrote right here, the mean is less than the median, may not look like a sentence to you, but it is kind of a sentence. That's the explanation. And our answer was skewed left because of that. Are we doing on time? We're okay. Did you all get these answers? Number 4. Anyone know the approximate salary of the highest paid player? And anyone know who that player is from the 2019 Detroit Tigers?
It's got to be Miguel Cabrera.
I was gonna, that's what I haven't thought, yeah.
God.
30 million, good. Miggy, who's Miggy?
Who's Miggy?
You can tell I'm not really a baseball person. Is that Miguel Cabrera?
That is Miguel Cabrera, yes.
It's Miggy, okay, okay. I know the name Cabrera. What does SMH mean? Shaking my head. right?
Shaking my head.
Here,
Oh
here.
my goodness. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I don't text much. I know the LOLs. It's laughing a lot loudly. Okay, so you labeled the mean salary, which is this approximately 3 million, right? You put it right here. So why is that mean not good for a typical player? What's your explanation? By the way, remember I said this earlier, when we say typical, we're really saying center or average. So why is that not a good measurement of the average player's salary for a Detroit Tiger?
Okay. Because there's a lot more players to the left.
Good. And what does that say in terms of this sort of language? Okay, outliers, that's another good word. Yeah, that 30 million outlier is destroying the average. I mean, it's like pulling everyone up to that 2 million mark when really most players are sitting under 100,000. They could be making as much as me and sitting on the bench. Yeah, all of those are good answers. Another answer that's really, really good. Anytime we're talking about center, you can explain the shape for why the mean is inappropriate or the median is appropriate, or either way. So we could say this is what, skewed right. That outlier of Miggy. What was the other one? More players on the left. All of those are saying essentially the same thing.
So you guys remember with the pet data yesterday, when we had that 127 tarantulas, it pulled that data way to the right after we had found our class data. And this is the exact same thing.
She used to have in the notes the like Bill Gates walks into a bar kind of thing. Like you go into Seattle and you take the salaries of 6 people hanging out, and then Bill Gates walks in and you put his salary in and it blows things up.
I think that's in QR, Eric.
Is that QR? Okay.
Yeah, that's in QR.
Heck yeah. All right. So then
I like it though.
Yeah, it's a great one. This is America salaries too. It's like there's a couple people that are like this, and then everyone else is down here. And then the pandemic what the pandemic did is it took all these people and moved them this way because they made tons of money off the pandemic. And it took everyone down here and moved them this way because they lost money because they couldn't work or they had to buy tests or whatever, right? So the pandemic cut the divide of income and it made the poor poorer and the rich richer. Some of the things
also,
that like,
prices went up.
Say again?
Prices went up as well.
Which hurts the poor and helps the wealthy. Yes.
Yeah.
It's just a double whammer. The one that killed me was like all the famous people like, oh, I'm on my yacht isolating. And it's like, oh, sorry for you. You have to have your crew bring your champagne and stay 6 feet away from you when they hand it to you. Like, ugh. Okay, so what's the better value? What's the better measurement? We might not know the number for it, but we at least know the name. That was a bad rant. I'm sorry. Don't let me rant like that. It's going to get me in trouble.
I think we can all agree with that, Eric.
I think, yes, I think.
Definitely.
I think that one was pretty safe, yeah. Do y'all feel good about me saying the median here?
Yes.
And what's the explanation? It's a skewed data set. So skewed left. And the median is one of these dots somewhere in here. So the median shows up. This green, I'm sorry, is a rough color on the eyes. Let's do this green. This is where the median would go. Awesome. Okay, so we got this worksheet done. We've got another weekend coming up. You've got this worksheet it's a little simpler, but I think in some ways, do you have to do any calculate? Oh, there's one calculation here you need to do. This is StatCrunch. StatCrunch will give you these 3 things under summary stats. So it's a good place to practice that. We can look at this worksheet on what is it?
No,
on
actually,
Monday?
you guys do this and then bring it to me tomorrow and we'll check your summary stats. Otherwise, this is it'll be a good, because they turn this in on Sunday.
Okay, never
So
mind.
yeah, put that into StatCrunch, guys, and see if you can get your mean, median, and mode from that. Run a summary stat columns by putting in not the year, but the number of tornado deaths.
Yeah, don't need the year. That's qualitative. By the way, sigma, remember that's sum. I should show you how to do that in StatCrunch, but I think we're out of
Actually,
time.
I think it's in there. It'll be one of the summary stats is sum.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
So if
Good.
they pick all of them or just look, sum is one of the summary stats.
So make sure you pick that one so you don't have to be adding that yourself. Ooh, there are a lot of tornadoes in that year. Okay, and then so I guess on Tuesday, what we'll be doing is working on the 3-2 worksheet.
Yep.
And we can start the chapter 3 project if need be. We can do parts of it, probably not all of it.
What's the worksheet that we're supposed to do for tomorrow?
Just that.
3.1 work 1.
Yeah, don't worry about the, so the 2.3 worksheet number 1 that we didn't do. You guys, the only thing I really want you, Eric, can you pull that up a little bit more to the 2.3 worksheet 1? The important part of the 2.3 worksheet number 1 is really the second page.
Yes.
I want to make sure that you guys know how to do that. So if you, this is really what I want you to do for the 2.3. I really don't care about the first page, but I really want to make sure that you guys know how to fill in that chart, which we've done all of these things. Like we've done class midpoints. We've done a chart that had relative, cumulative, and cumulative relative frequencies. We've done that, but we haven't put it together all in one chart. And this looks like a good midterm problem.
So are we
Probably.
gonna be doing that page tomorrow, the 2.3? Or we do that
Probably
too?
not. I will, you guys, I want you guys to do it. And I'm not gonna do it, but I can go over answers with it. So I want you guys to try doing it. So you can look back in your notes if you're not sure how to do it. Remember, midpoints is you add the lower class limits and divide by 2.
I'm trying to click this link, but I can't get up draw.
I know,
If you
I
click
can't
this
do it.
link,
And that
it's
never
in there.
works for me either. I don't know what's up with that. Anyways, yes, I want you guys to try this. I will go over answers so that you feel confident that you did it right before you submit it. So yes, I will answer questions on it, but I'm not going to go over and do every problem. So I want you guys to try this, try it. And then we'll check and make sure that you filled them in correctly. The 3.1 worksheet number 1, again, Taylor, which Eric just mentioned. The first page I'm not so concerned about, but definitely that second page.
Here we go.
Oh, actually, no. Yes, the 3.1 worksheet number 1. Yes, do this one, and I can check answers again on this tomorrow. The second page is just kind of looking at your histogram there and answering questions, but it's a good one because it is asking for shape and what would be the best measure, which you guys should know because it's being skewed. You should be able to answer that right away.
Okay, let me stop this and stop the recording.
Yeah, we know Eric has class right now, so.